Hello and welcome to Crucible of Words for more dedicated legacy action. Today we are playing our midweek meta deck slot and we are playing INF's Legacy Challenge 32 winning Doomsday deck. Now Doomsday is quite a difficult deck to play, and you may have noticed from my other recent videos that there's a new card in the format which is going to make this a little bit more tricky to play, and that is Orcish Bowmasters. Because we need to draw through the 5 cards we put into our deck with Doomsday, we could end up in a bit of trouble. But this is the deck we're playing, so let's see how we go on. So if you're unfamiliar with the deck, we want to cast Doomsday, which lets us remove our library and graveyard from the game, and we get to make a new library of 5 cards of our choice in the order of our choice for our library. So what we're going to do is we're going to set up a way so we can just win with Thassa's Oracle. There's lots of different lines of doing this. Quite often you're just going to be using cyclers, so you can just pass a turn, and then on your next turn you can draw the cyclers, cycle through your library, cast Thassa's Oracle, win the game. But there are also things like Consider here, where you can mill one of your cards and get in deeper, and Brainstorm plus Lion's Eye Diamond usually means you can get the Doomsday win on the turn you go off with the Doomsday instead of having to pass a turn. There's a lot of wiggle room and different plays you have to make with this deck. We have the Personal Tutors, so we're like Turbo Doomsdays to try and find the Doomsday. That's how we're winning this game. So there are also Tempo Doomsday builds with things like Murktide and Baleful Strix type things. But this is what we're playing today. I have played Doomsday on the channel before. I will link in the description a video I made with a Doomsday expert coaching me as I went along. So hopefully I can remember some of that, even though it was quite a while ago. But definitely check out that one in the description if you're interested in the Doomsday deck. So yeah, our whole deck is dedicated to this one thing. We have protection in the form of Daze, Force of Will, and the Thoughtseize. And we have Cavern of Souls. We can do our uncounterable Thassa's Oracle to win the game with. That's it for the main deck. The sideboard gets kind of a little bit more interesting because we have a Duke that we can go into in the form of Sheoldred. So Sheoldred, if our opponent's not expecting any creatures, we can just play a Sheoldred, and a lot of decks will struggle against just this card on their own. So that's kind of the plan, but we also have a bunch of other ways of disrupting our opponent and forcing our combo through. For decks that go quicker or have prison elements that will stop us, we have Force of Negation. We've then got Hurkyl's Recall and Echoing Truth to bounce problem permanents. Again, more prison-y type stuff. We've got Flusterstorm for the storm decks that can go underneath us. We've got some hand disruption in the form of Duresses if we need more of that. We've got Tormod's Crypt here, and a Fatal Push, and a Subtlety. So you may think, well, there's a lot of one-offs in there. But the whole point of our deck is that we tutor for our set of 5 cards. So we don't necessarily need to stop what they're doing to cast our Doomsday. We can sometimes cast Doomsday, put the answer to the problem permanent into our Doomsday pile, and then draw it, and then use that to answer what we're worried about. So for example, if we knew somebody had like a Stifle or something, we can put in the relevant card to deal with that, whether it's going to be useful to be a Duress effect or a counterspell or whatever, we can do that. Or if our opponent is kind of threatening to beat us in a certain way, we might be able to use a Tormod's Crypt and flex into that. So we've definitely got some options here. Now, the amount of options we have for building a pile is enormous, and I'm probably going to be a bit slow doing it sometimes because I've only played Doomsday once before, and that was when I had somebody looking over my shoulder to make sure I was doing it right. We did come away with a 4-1 in that league, so hopefully we can replicate that here and not get smashed by Orcish Bowmasters too much. But in theory, if we can go off early enough, we should be able to win through an Orcish Bowmasters. So that's what we're going to try and do today. Before we jump in, I have a Patreon that you can check out in the description below. I've also got a Discord if you want to join and say hello. And why not like and subscribe to my channel? I think 60% of my viewers are not subscribed to the channel. So what are you doing? Hit that subscribe button. All right, let's play some Doomsday. All right, we're into game 1. This is quite an easy mulligan because we have no mana sources. So I can work that bit out. This one is a turn 1 Doomsday with Force of Will backup. And we have a Consider and a Street Wraith, so we can get to our pile incredibly quickly. This seems pretty nice, although one of these cards does have to go back. So I think we keep this, and we'll probably get rid of the Street Wraith here. Although we could set it up so we have another Force of Will on top if that's something we're worried about. That's certainly an interesting... We should get rid of the Street Wraith. Probably write an essay on what to take there. Right, our opponent's mulligan to 5. So hopefully our Force of Will do a lot of heavy lifting for us. Alright, so we're going to play our Scalding Tarn, crack our Scalding Tarn, go and get ourselves Underground Sea. We're going to cast the Start Ritual. We're going to cast Doomsday. and then spend 5 minutes of our time working out what our pile's supposed to be. So we definitely need a Thassa's Oracle. Probably want a basic island as well. I want the cavern. Do you have a basic island? We do have a basic island. And then we can use our consider if we want to on our next turn. So we probably just want Cycler. Or do we want a Daze? We can leave the Daze on top. Just trying to work out how much mana we have here. Because I don't know if we're going to get caught by the Lotus Petal or not. We can put a Lotus Petal on top. Or a Lotus Petal into the pile. And then the Edge of Autumn. Or Street Wraith. Let's have a Street Wraith. Okay. So now I have to order these. So we would like to have the Thassa's Oracle second from the bottom. So I think we're putting... I messed this one up. So island on the bottom, then the Thassa's Oracle, then the... is this right? We put the Lotus Petal... We can get Lotus Petal and consider in one turn. So 1, 2, 3. So we want... Yeah, we do want the island on the bottom. Then we'll have the Thassa's Oracle. Then we'll have the Lotus Petal and the Street Wraith. If you draw Cavern of Souls, we cast a consider. Deck is hard. So we definitely want to draw the Cycler on the top, I think, right? So we can cycle into what we need. Or we can put the island that we can mill over if we need to mill over it. We can just win the game that way. Okay, that makes sense. So Oracle on the bottom. Then it's the Cavern. Then it's the Street Wraith. Then it's the island and the Lotus Petal. So we'll draw the Lotus Petal next turn. And then if we need to, we can cycle it away. Why do I have a feeling I've done that horribly wrong? So we've got this Force of Will. Ancient Tomb. Lotus Petal, okay. So our opponent's not going to have many resources to work with here. Sai, we don't care about Sai. Mox Opal, we don't care about Mox Opal. Our opponent is on an 8 cast. Most likely regular 8 cast rather than Painter cast. Okay. So if they cast a Thought cast here, are we supposed to counter or not? I guess not. So the next card of our library is an island. So we can draw this. So that can draw us the... do we actually have it this turn? I don't think we do. I think I may have messed up my pile here. We could have just done a big cycler line. But we can go... We cast Consider here. No, we can still win here, I think. So this goes into our graveyard. Then we have this. So we cycle this into Cavern of Souls. And then we're still 1 card shy, aren't we? We need another turn. I've made a mistake. Oh, no. I'm so sorry. Doishi was the person who coached me through how to play this deck. And I tried to play around too many things here. Now, we still have this Force of Will, and our opponent isn't a Wasteland deck. So I think we're still okay. We've definitely given our opponent a chance to win this game, which they shouldn't have had if we'd have played correctly. Right, an island. 1 card in hand. 1 card to beat from our opponent. They have an attack for 3 here. That's fine. We're still odds on for winning here. If our opponent casts anything, we'll counter it. Okay, so there's our Cavern of Souls. So we have 1 card left in our library. So we play our Cavern of Souls out. We name Merfolk. Then we cycle this. Yeah, so this is a cycler. We could have won more easily. Okay, so we have no cards in our library. We will cast this Thassa's Oracle. It's uncounterable, and we have a Force of Will. I'm probably sacrificing Artifact here to draw a card. Sure. Force of Will doesn't do it here. Alright. So, despite my error, we did get there. Sheoldred seems like it's going to be pretty good against the deck that draws a whole bunch of cards, right? That seems reasonable. We're going to want this Hurkyl's Recall. That's a nice way to just say no to a whole bunch of their things. Now, quite what we board out here is difficult. I think the Daze is probably going to be pretty subpar. If we're boarding in Sheoldred, we want to keep our Cabal Rituals for sure. I don't think we want to go down on our Doomsday plan. We can still do that. Kind of want to keep our fast mana. Are we looking at something like Thoughtseize to go here? Because Chalice is kind of annoying and we don't really want to play into Chalice. If we can avoid it. I'd rather have Sculpting than Thoughtseizes. I would bring in the Recall and bring in the Sheoldreds. Like, there's arguments for some of these other cards as well, but there's only so much we could... Like, we could board in more... We could board in more... like, counter spells and try and stop the the thing when it comes down. But I don't think that's really where we want to be. Maybe we do want the Thoughtseize. I don't know, we're on the draw though. Maybe we'll have the Force of Negation on the draw, and then on the play we can switch it up a little bit. Let's try this. Not an expert with this deck whatsoever. I played it once before and it's an incredibly difficult deck to play. This is a turn 2 uncounterable Sheoldred, if we want it. That's quite interesting to me. I think we'll give that a go. Their deck famously draws a whole bunch of cards. So if we can stop their initial turn and just dump this Sheoldred, we'll be alright. We've got the Force of Will to stop something scary. A Bauble, that's not the scary thing we need to counterspell. Ancient Tomb, and nothing. No Chalice, nothing. Interesting. Right, so we've got this Scalding Tarn, and we'll pass. There's an island. There's a Mox Opal. And 3 cards left in our opponent's hand there. It's just going to be a Thought Cast. I think we have to allow that and then try and hit the payoff if they find one. We'll crack this end of turn. We could Brainstorm now just to try and get a bit more value going for us. I think we could also use the Consider to clear a Brainstorm later on. What would we be brainstorming for is the question. Yeah, I think we're just going to pass to our turn. And let's try a Dark Ritual before playing our Cavern of Souls. I doubt they're going to counter this. They could do, though. Then we'd have to consider if we want to force or not. Alright, so we're going to put this on Phyrexian. And we're going to cast an uncounterable Sheoldred. Nice Bauble there. So we have a Force of Will, but Otawara can still clean this up in an annoying way for us. But they usually run 1 to 2 Otawaras, so it's not the most likely. And digging for it is a real problem for them now. Sai, Master Thopterist. How annoying is Sai? Sai is definitely one of those things that can do some work for against our Sheoldred, but they're not going to cast that many spells. I think we do need to counterspell this. We'll pitch one of our Brainstorms here. Alright, they're forcing back. No artifacts to follow up with. Interesting. Right, let's cast a Brainstorm and gain a bunch of life as well. Pretty nice. We don't really want this Sheoldred, but we don't have a second blue source, so we can't. So we put the Sheoldred on top, then we can consider it away next turn. And we'll leave this Personal Tutor on top. So with the Personal Tutor, we can threaten a Doomsday kill very quickly here as well. Because we've got the Lines Eye Diamond and a Consider here. And the Brainstorm. I think attacking here is perfectly sensible. Not really sure what they're going to have for this 1 mana here. They could have Dismember, but that would kill it outright anyway. I think we'll go for the swing. Alright. So hopefully our opponent's going to invest some resources into doing something about this Sheoldred. And then we can Personal Tutor and do all of our jazz. So we're a little bit slow going here, but we can threaten the combo very soon, provided our opponent doesn't just die to the Sheoldred in the next 2 turns. Like, their Ancient Tomb is basically off here. If they can make enough Thopters, we can't attack with the Sheoldred, which can buy them another turn. Or they can chump block the Sheoldred as well. But they can't cast any draw spells, which is kind of essential to how their deck operates. So this turn we're going to draw the Personal Tutor. And we can either consider away this Sheoldred that we don't want, or we can just Personal Tutor and shuffle our library. I think we'll just Personal Tutor here. Let's put the Doomsday on top. They've got some untapped mana. They can just chump block anyway. We may as well just pass a turn here. It's not going to make any difference as a clock if we attack. I guess the one thing it might do is get an artifact off the board, but we don't even care about Kappa Cannoneer here. And we don't care about Thought Monitor or Thought Cast because that will kill them. Right, so there's this Doomsday we have. Do we even need to cast it here? I don't think we do. I think we can just pass a turn here. Just let them slowly bleed out with his Sheoldred. Alright. And 1 life. Alright, so we got the game with the Sheoldred Duke. As I mentioned before, some decks can really struggle against it. I think we correctly identified a deck that needs to draw a lot of cards. So I found this game a lot easier to play than the one we had to assemble a Doomsday pile, but there it is. I think we learned a mistake from that. It's been so long since I've played this deck, and I play so many decks on the channel that my brain, it's going to take a little while to get back into this. Maybe I should have watched my own video to refresh myself. Or maybe Doishi. Alright, let's play the second round. Our opening hand casts turn 1 Doomsday, backed up by Daze, and we can Thoughtseize as well if we need to. This seems like a keep to me. Unfortunately, it means I'm going to have to work out how to resolve a Doomsday with not a lot of lands in play, which is always the more trickier line. Right, Bloodstone Mire. Alright, we might just be getting reanimated and it might not matter. Let's find out. Dark Ritual. Duress. I think we might be losing our Doomsday here. So our opponent could be Storm or they could be Reanimator. Feels like we're looking at Reanimator here. So they're going to go and get themselves some giant scary monster. Grizzlebrand. That's pretty scary and giant. There it is. They've drawn some cards. How much of the rest of our hand are we going to lose here? Unmask. So what are we losing here? Thoughtseize, Daze, Dark Ritual. Yeah, all pretty good options. And Dark Ritual means we can't top deck the Doomsday and just put it on the stack straight away. So that seems to make sense to me. Okay. What are we doing here? Not winning the game, I guess. Well, we've got time. So I'm just going to see if there's anything weird in our opponent's deck. See if they've got anything unusual. I would like to know more about their mana base. Are they on the mono black build? Are they on the build with multiple colours? They might not show us any more cards. So, you know, we've seen these lands. We haven't seen the white splash yet. So we need to keep an eye on that if that's the thing they have. Like, this game is completely over. I'm just seeing some more information from our opponent is what I want to do here. Arc of Cruelty. Alright. They're not going to show us anything else apart from killing us here. I'm just fishing for a tiny bit of information. Didn't see the white sources, but that doesn't mean they don't have them. Sometimes Reanimator can run things like Silence, which can be kind of awkward if you're drawing the final card in your deck and they cast a Silence. That's something that might be worth thinking about. What do we want here? Sheoldred, very good against Grizzlebrand, terrible against Arc of Cruelty. So not a fan of that one. Force of Negation. I am a fan of that one. Flusterstorm. Also a fan of that one. Tormod's Crypt. I'm a fan of that one. The Duress is pretty reasonable too. So these are all things I'm somewhat interested in, which is a lot. How are we supposed to sideboard here? That is a real tough one. I don't think we're supposed to be doing some of like the Lion's Eye Diamond type lines here. Maybe we're trimming on some of our cyclers. Although if we make our pile, we do want to be able to rinse through it almost immediately. So we do kind of need the cyclers for that. We do need... I think we do need both Thassa's Oracle. We do want the Dazes. What are we supposed to even take out here? It's like cutting Ponders, but then our blue count's a bit messed up. Yeah, I have no idea how to sideboard against this one, if I'm being perfectly honest with you. There's a big chunk of our deck that we can't really interfere with here as well. Maybe we are cutting some cyclers. That feels awkward. I think we're better off just trying to stop our opponent. Or maybe on the play we're supposed to just go really hard. I don't know. If we're taking out the Lion's Eye Diamond, maybe we take out Consider, just making a bit of room really, aren't we? So we still need to find 4 cuts if we want to do this. Yikes. Maybe us going fast isn't really where we need to be and we're supposed to cut petals. That seems a bit wild though. Alright, we'll try it though. I'm not convinced I've sideboarded this one. Well, I know some of the Doomsday decks have ley lines. Okay. We've got some counter spells. And we can cast a turn 2... yeah, we've got turn 2 Doomsday here. If our opponent Thoughtseizes us, they'll have an interesting choice. I think we have to let the Thoughtseize hit us. Grief, that's kind of like Thoughtseize, isn't it? Alright. So I think we let this hit us. If they take the Dark Ritual, then we can't Doomsday next turn, but we can get around to that later. If they don't take one of our counter spells. Right, so they took the Force. A Thoughtseize as well. Alright. Just shredding our hand over there. Now this is the point where somebody who's better at this game than me would probably know the correct line here. Let's go Dark Ritual into Doomsday. So I would like a Thassa's Oracle, obviously. Our opponent's showing us red mana. I don't think they're going to have any counter spells. So I don't think we need... We can put an island in that we can fetch off of the Misty Rainforest. That can be the bottom card. So we've got Oracle, Island. Do I think they're going to have multiple ways of disrupting it? I don't think so. So that's 1, 2, Street Wraith, Edge of Autumn. And then we need one more card. So maybe we need to put like a mana source on the bottom just in case they have a way, something like a Blood Moon could jam us up potentially. We don't have a Lotus Petal though, so we can't actually do that. So I guess we just have to say, let's hope for the best. And we can put another blue card so we can Force of Negation. I don't necessarily think we're going to get a Force of Negation out here either. No, I don't think it matters what our last card is here, to be honest. I guess we can put Force of Will as the very bottom card in case it somehow comes up. Or we could put the bottom card as an Underground Sea. We have Underground Sea and another land in there so we can maybe cast the Doomsday. No, I think we just have to roll with it like this. So put the bottom card. All right, accept our choice. Bottom card is the island. No, bottom card is the... It doesn't really matter what the bottom card is as long as it's the Brainstorm or the island. So we go Brainstorm, then the island, then the Oracle, then the Street Wraith, and the Edge of Autumn. Alright. Our opponent's got a turn to kill us. I don't think they can. Well, they're only on 10. Maybe there's some amount of lines they can reduce our life total so we can't Street Wraith into. Or they can... No, the Serra's thingy doesn't... Oh, okay. I own a Shield of Emeria on blue. That's pretty good, isn't it? Yeah, that's going to do it for us, isn't it? Yep. Didn't see that one coming. We have no way of beating that. Yeah, we're just done there. Yeah, we got smashed by a deck that's very powerful and strong that also we didn't really know how to play against properly in terms of sideboarding. I haven't seen Iona in Reanimator list for a while. It's a thing that's always on the periphery, so I probably should have played around it. Again, this is the thing with Doomsday. If you know the matchup, you'll know, okay, this is a thing that they can have here and they can get you with it. But we just didn't, and we got beaten, and our opponent deserved to win that game. So let's go to the next match. We're on the play. We can go and get a Doomsday on turn 1, and we can draw it, but we can't cast it. Alright, any hand that has access to Doomsday seems like a good place to be. I think we'll play this Underground Sea, cast ourselves a Personal Tutor, Go, Gadget, Doomsday. If our opponent does some weird thing to make us shuffle our library, we can always use a Street Wraith, Verdant Catacomb, Lotus Petal. Okay, this is looking like Storm. The Epic Storm runs Verdant Catacombs, I believe. Ad Nauseam Tendrils can also run it, so... Badlands. Oh no, we're just going to get reanimated again. I think we might be. We now have the problem of our opponent being a discard deck and Doomsday being in our hand. Not ideal. Right, we're getting targeted with an Unmask. Understood. What would you like to take here? They have 2 massive guys in their graveyard, so it shouldn't be too much hassle for them to reanimate one either this turn or the following turn. Okay, so now we're drawing into the Doomsday, and our opponent can do stuff about it, which is kind of annoying. I think we're supposed to try and find a way of putting it on the stack now, looking for a Dark Ritual. One away. I think we just have to put this into our graveyard, sadly. The wrong ritual. Force of Will. That's not nothing. Alright, we'll play this Underground Sea. Maybe we can Force of Will their reanimation spell. They've only got 3 cards in hand. And then we can untap and just cast Doomsday the good old-fashioned way. Right, Marsh Flats being cracked. Shallow Grave. 2 cards in our opponents. I guess we have to do this, otherwise they're just going to get the Grizzlebrand into us. Say no to Shallow Graves. We do have a second Thassa's Oracle in our deck. Alright, maybe we get to cast this Doomsday. A Ponder. It's not an unhelpful one either. Alright, so we'll go and get ourselves another Underground Sea. And we'll cast ourselves a little Doomsday. So, I would like a Thassa's Oracle. We've got lots of mana, so that's good. So, Street Wraith, Edge of Autumn, this other Street Wraith, and this other Edge of Autumn. Just do the pile. So I guess we put... Do we need Oracle on the bottom? I don't think we need it on the bottom. We can put the Edge of Autumn. Actually, that should be the... Yeah, Edge of Autumn's fine. Like, it's either going to be good enough or it isn't at this point. So I'll put the Edge. And then these guys. And pass the turn. Can our opponent 9 us? It's certainly possible. We've seen Shallow Grave from our opponent. They don't have to 9 us. They just have to 5 us. So we do lose to Shallow Grave. I don't think we can... Maybe there's a way we can play around that. I'm not sure. Collective Brutality. That's not going to do it, is it? Alright. Let's cycle this. Let's cycle this. Blue, blue, blue. Let's cycle this. Let's cast this. And we win the game off of a Thassa's Oracle trigger. Okay. I felt alright. So, Flusterstorm and these Force of Negations and this Tormod Crypt. These are the things that I think we want. On the draw, our discard is certainly less useful as well. So maybe we're just getting rid of discard, keeping our account for blue spells. Don't hate that as a plan. Maybe drop the Consider and an LED and a couple of petals. We can still put petals in our pile if we want to. I think we want to have the cycler so we can win quickly. Oh, we didn't want a Subtlety there. Would we rather have a Lion's Eye Diamond or another Lotus Petal? I think we'd rather have another Lotus Petal at the end of the day. We can't beat an Iona anyway, so we don't have any things in R75 that actually beats the Iona on blue. Apart from maybe casting a Sheoldred. Is that really what I want to do there? I don't think so. Well, it does shut off Grizzlebrand. We've already brought out a little bit of our mana. No, maybe on the play that's more of an option, but I think on the draw it's just gives our opponents something to reanimate against us that's very good against us as well. So let's not be silly. Okay. We have turn 1 Doomsday. We have Force of Negation, and we have a Tormod Crypt. Magic God's smiling on our hand here. Now, we can still lose, because they can pick apart our hand quite easily. They kept 7, so I'm not ecstatic about that. Unmask, targeting us. We can counterspell this, and hope that they can't do the whole shebang in one turn. I think that's probably our best bet. Not a fan of this, but... Alright, we're just getting away with it. Looks like we are. Okay. Gonna get ourselves underground sea. Let's play this Tormod's Crypt. Cast this Cabal Ritual. Cast this Doomsday. Now, we have to work out what pile we want here. Oh, they just scoop into the Doomsday. Alright, that's the best way of winning, where your opponent scoops the Doomsday, so you don't have to go through the hassle of trying to work out what the correct play is. But, we are going to try and work out what our pile should be. So, 5 cards here. We need the Oracle. We probably just have 1 land, 3 cyclers. So we use the Polluted Delta to get the land as the last card in our deck. Yeah, that's probably fine. We could, I think we can put a Daze in as well because of the Polluted Delta. Is basically a draw effect in our hand. So we could probably put a single Daze in there just in case we wanted a bit of protection. So we'd have cycle, cycle, cycle. I suppose that doesn't really matter, does it? Yeah, cycle, cycle, cycle. Thassa's Oracle, and then get the land out the deck. Yeah, so that's probably what we'd have. Yeah, just 3 cyclers. Just keep it simple. Stop worrying about Daze things. But yeah, so we got the win there. We're 2-1. Let's go to round 4. We're on the play for round 4. I do not like our hand here. We don't have any access to cantrips or Doomsday. Let's just mulligan. Alright. This gives us some Doomsday with Forcible Protection. So there is a question about whether or not we keep this Lion's Eye Diamond or we just keep enough mana so that we can be guaranteed to cast our Doomsday, which I quite like. So I think I'm going to try that. I'm expecting this Brainstorm to get used in a Force of Will. That's why I'm not trying to plan any Lion's Eye Diamond Brainstorm piles. I just want to have the right cards to win the game. And this hand can win the game with protection. Not necessarily at a blistering pace, but it is something. Let's Personal Tutor. Show our opponent what we're up to. And pass the turn. A Dark Ritual. Okay. A Thoughtseize. Yeah, I thought that could happen. Choice of whether or not we hit the Dark Ritual there. Is our opponent on Reanimator as well? We're going to play just 3 Reanimator decks in a row. Cabal Ritual. Okay, no, we're looking at Storm here. Or Doomsday. Okay, a fellow Doomsday player. Understood. So they should be able to... They only have 1 card in hand there. Whether or not they can win the game in 1 turn, it's certainly possible. But they need 1 more draw to do it because they need the land as well. Whereas we can assemble a line that wins us the game on the following turn. But we can't actually cast a Doomsday. So, alright, let's see what our opponent's pile is and we can probably work out what's going on. I expect to lose this game because our opponent is almost certainly a better Doomsday player than me. We've got lines down. I could count the ponders and things, but I don't think it massively impacts what we're doing here. We're on the Brainstorm and hope it's good. Brainstorm, consider. Yikes, not really what we want, is it? I guess we'll put back this and we put back the Oracle. Well, there is a blue card. Maybe we have to put back the Petal here. Although, no, I'll put this one back. Crack this. Go and get Underground Sea. Cast this, consider. What exactly we're looking for here, I don't know. It's like a Thoughtseize, so put this into... And we drew a land. Alright, so they were passing the turn twice. They don't have a land in hand. If we Thoughtseize them now, is that going to be good? We can Thoughtseize and cast Doomsday, so I guess we are going to try that at least. Alright, our opponent's cast a Brainstorm response to our Thoughtseize. So there's going to be some mana in our opponent's deck and or hand. They've got 3 cards in their library. Right, so cycling a Street Wraith here as well. Right, so we can take a Street Wraith here. I suspect we are dead. Okay, so Thassa's Oracle, Cycler. Like, I assume this doesn't matter and we're just dead. Right, our opponent has Thassa's Oracle and we are dead. I was just chatting to my opponent a little bit because they're obviously a Doomsday player, so I was getting a few little pointers. I think I want the Sheoldreds here. And on the play, I like Duresses a lot more than Counter Magic. Now, that could be wrong. Do you want Dazes? We're on the play. It makes Daze a little bit more interesting to me. Like, we do need our counter spells, is the thing. But if we're duking into this plan, that's 5 cards. That's a lot. Maybe if we're boarding in the Sheoldreds, as opposed to board down on Personal Tutors. That's not a horrible plan. Like, we can still get there in the end, which means we still need to keep the Cabal Rituals. And we're just looking for one more slot here. I still think we want the Force of Wills. Do we want the Force of Negations as well? I don't think so on the play. I kind of like our plan of trying to punch a hole and stick a Sheoldred here. Maybe we'll trim a Street Wraith here. Now, our opponent could also be bringing in Sheoldred. Does that mean I'm supposed to bring in a Fatal Push? Maybe. No. Let's try this. Not convinced, but... like, Flusterstorm's also a good option here. Maybe like a Fluster over a Force? Maybe like a Fluster over a Push? I don't know. If I brought out the Push, I'm definitely getting killed by Sheoldred. So we kind of got what we wanted. We've got turn 2 Sheoldred here. We'll keep this. We'll hold up Flusterstorm and Brainstorm so we can hide cards if we need to. The other option is casting the Ponder straight up. I don't think that's where I want to be. I'd rather hold the Flusterstorm. There's a Lotus Petal. That's +1 Storm for us. No play. Do we want to cast a Brainstorm at end step? See if we can find some fast mana for our Sheoldred. Because then we can do the... No, I think we'll just pass here. We're not going to cast Sheoldred. We can cast Sheoldred with Flusterstorm backup. Don't hate that as a thing. Let's crack this for Underground Sea. Let's crack this for Underground Sea. This way our opponent can't interrupt timings for us. Let's cast a Dark Ritual. Let's cast a Cabal Ritual. This kind of telegraphs what we're trying to accomplish, I think. There's our Sheoldred. There's a Force of Will. I think I want to go in on this. Alright, so it looks like we're going to get Flusterstorm back, maybe. Oh, they're cycling a Street Wraith first. Alright, that's good news for us. Potentially. Now, they can still win through a Sheoldred. But if they do a pass the turn line, then they can't win through the Sheoldred, right? They have to win in 1 turn. Because they'll go to 8. Sorry, they're going to go to 14, then they're going to go to 7. And then we're going to hit them for enough that they can't draw their deck. That's the plan, at least. Now, if they can cast Doomsday and win this turn, then we will lose. Obviously, because they will win. But I think giving our opponent 1 turn to try and win the game is not a bad place to be. Like, even if they go to 7 here, they can't draw through their deck. I think we're in a reasonable spot. And then we can unload some cantrips to try and find a bit more permission. So if we untap here, I'm liking our spot. Take my extra life, please. I will begin with a Brainstorm. Not really into these ones. I'm going to put this and this back. Gain some life. Play this. Crack this. Do you have an opposition agent? No. Okay, I don't really care if you do at the end of the day, to be honest. And we'll go for a Ponder, a Brainstorm, a Dark Ritual. I want the Brainstorm, I don't really want the cards under it. So I'm going to go any order and shuffle. Mine's our diamond. Okay, so we've got mana in our hand, but that doesn't really do anything for us. So this puts our opponent to 10. So they need to remove this before they can combo now. Alright, we got the concession. Sheoldred was good. So let's go to round 3. Game 3 of this. So now we're on the draw. I think we want to be more into the old counter spells rather than Duresses and things. Now, the Duresses are fine. I'm certainly not opposed to having them. Maybe I want to just change up my whole plan here. And so Dazes are a lot worse on the draw, that's for sure. So that's just 3 slots we need to find. I don't think we can just try and play a let's be a Sheoldred person. That doesn't. I think we do still need our combo in the deck, otherwise we're going to feel a bit silly. But we could maybe trim the Diamond and the Consider here. That just leaves us looking for one more slot. Maybe it's supposed to be one of our Duresses here. It could be the Fatal Push, but if our opponent does the same thing to us, we would at least like to have an answer in it. I don't think we need the Echoing Truth. Do you want Subtlety, weirdly? Is that a thing just for Sheoldred? That's kind of interesting. I'm into it. I'm into it. Let's have that instead of one of these Duresses. It's also just a thing we're going to use to pressure our opponent a little bit. Now, I don't think it's very good, but I want to try it out, and that's something. Okay, so our opponent can go on turn 1. We're in trouble. But otherwise, we have 1, 2, 3. So we can make a turn 2 Sheoldred with Thoughtseize. So we just need to hope our opponent doesn't have the turn 1 nuts. Alright, our opponent's already lost some life. Underground Sea. Don't get me, bro. Duress. Alright, the jig is up. I imagine they might take our Thoughtseize here. But not necessarily. Like, what they have in their hand will dictate what they take, and maybe we can get a little bit of information from our opponent, depending on what they take here. Right, they did take our Thoughtseize, as I suspected they might. Okay. Oh, wowzers, trousers. We can try and make an uncountable Sheoldred this turn. Okay. Let's just make a Sheoldred again. I feel for our opponent there. Now, they probably have some amount of bounce spells and possibly Fatal Pushes in their deck. Dark Ritual. Okay. Cabal Ritual. Sheoldred. Alright, we're playing this game, are we? I see. What a farce. Okay. Crack this for Underground Sea. Alright, so we've got a Cabal Ritual into Doomsday. So I would like a Fatal Push, a Thassa's Oracle, a Fetch Land, an Underground Sea, and probably a Cycler here. Take the one off Street Wraith. Okay, so the plan is we put the Underground Sea on the bottom. Oh, sorry, I've just done that the wrong way, haven't I? Right, so my logic for this pile is we put the Underground Sea on the bottom. Then we put the Thassa's Oracle. Then we put the Push. Then we put the Delta. Then we put the Street Wraith. Because these two things are kind of cancelling each other out right now. So our plan is to Fatal Push away the Sheoldred and then see how we get on. We don't need to do this turn. It's actually better if we do it next turn. I will Thoughtseize our opponent though. Let's see if I regret this or not. Lion's Eye Diamond and Force of Will. We'll take the Force of Will here today. Like, I definitely played this game in a slightly weird way, I think. But this is quite a weird game even for a Doomsday game. So next turn we can draw with the Street Wraith, crack the Fetch Land, Fatal Push. We can't actually cast Thassa's Oracle with this Cavern of Souls, but so this will put us to 5. Alright, so I think we could have just won with the Thassa's Oracle there, but we took an extra conservative line that may not have worked. We did get a bit lucky in that matchup. Mirrors, depending on the mirror, can be quite luck-based as opposed to skill-based. And I think this one feels a little bit more like that, at least in the way it played out, was a case of how do our opening hands interact with each other. Because the games are quite short in terms of the important turns where stuff happens, it means that you don't get a lot of time to sculpt and do stuff. Whereas if you're playing like a more mid-rangey or a control-y mirror, then you get so much time that all your little decisions matter more. So I think we got a bit lucky there, but I'll take it. I think we are 3-1, 2-1, 3-1 or 2-2. Let's have a look. We are 3-1. Okay, we're sailing. Let's go to the last round. Our opponent is presenting us a 61 card deck. Are we supposed to read into that they are oops all spells? Or are we supposed to get a more functional hand? I hate when people submit 61 card decks against me. I'm always like, okay. I think there's a 50% chance that they're oops all spells. I think I'm going to mulligan though. Alright, this hand is similar but better, so I'll take that. We can kind of hedge and take double Force of Will if we think that they are playing oops and throw back the Petal. It means we're going to have to find a lot more mana before we get to do our Doomsday thing. But we've got a Ponder. Ponder covers a multitude of sins. We've got the rituals, so it's not the end of the world. We'll keep this. Our opponent is mulliganed. I think we will put the Lotus Petal back. We will start off with a Ponder here. I think we'll go any order here and shuffle. A Street Wraith. Okay, so we can use that to draw into another blue card potentially. Our first Force of Will is pitching the Thassa's Oracle. I think that's a pretty easy one. Wooded Foothills. Okay, so we're not against Doomsday spells. That's fine. Our hand is weaker than it necessarily should be in the matchup list. Goblin Welder. Goblin Welder, you say? Yeah, that's got to go. Can't be dealing with that. Misty Rainforest. Okay, I think we're cycling this. I think I may have been hoisted by my petard in terms of Oopsal spells not being Oopsal spells. Maybe it is right to submit 61 card just because you're going to get a massive percentage boost against me in the leagues, and I don't do 5 leagues a week, so... Alright, opponent's doing pretty standard paintery things, but most likely playing a green splash. Right, so they have a grindstone. Back over to us. Cabal Ritual. So we have the ability to do the thing we need. Do we keep this Misty Rainforest? Do we hold it for... I think we hold it for the purposes of Brainstorm. And we pass the turn. More cards are also a bit more threatening. Makes our opponent think that we've got more action. They're going to be a bit more apprehensive about the order they deploy their spells. So we might get a chance for them to just not play their painter. Alright, they did play the painter. They're going to name blue, which will turn on our Force of Will. We don't really care about... They don't really care about Force of Will here. Yikes. I think they've just got us here. A Daze. A little bit too late. I guess we pass. Maybe they won't activate it. Maybe they'll be trying to play around something like removal. But if they've got a red blast, and they're more than happy to fire it off. Let's just see what they do. You never know, they might give us more information about what they're playing. We all can see before showing them our deck. Alright. Not ideal. So, Hurkyl's Recall seems of note here. Tormod's Crypt definitely has some useful text too. Fatal Push can kill Painter, so I like these. Not massively convinced that we want things like Duress though. All of our blue spells into Pyroblast though, they feel pretty bad too. So maybe we do want the Duress. Is there an argument for Echoing Truth here? I think there probably is. I don't mind blue spells that are 1-for-1s if with a Pyroblast. Do we need Echoing Truth? If so, what do we swap out for it? I guess our Personal Tutors are kind of a little awkward in the face of all the Pyroblasts. Come on, let's try a Personal Tutor out and an Echoing Truth in. Don't know if it's right, but that's the theme of the day, isn't it? Alright, on the play, what do we reckon? We've got Fatal Push, we've got a Brainstorm, we've already got a thing that helps us cast. I think we can keep this one off the back of the Brainstorm. I don't think we're supposed to mulligan just for looking for Doomsday, but maybe that's wrong. Like cantrip plus a way of casting Doomsday and some useful interaction feels like a lot of stuff for us to have here. We might be faced with a Mages of the Moon. It's unlikely, but it's possible. So I think we're probably going to fetch a basic island with this one for our Brainstorm. Because we already have this, which we can use to make the triple black that we need. There is a Goblin Welder. I think we've changed the plan now to go and get this underground. So if you don't get rid of the Welder, you never get rid of anything for a very long time. It's just got to kill the Welder on sight for the most part. And we had the option of doing that. So Thassa's Oracle, you're not the one we wanted. Alright, so we can Brainstorm now. They could Syrian Spirit Guide Pyroblast if they wanted. If they have that. But that's just something that we'll always be playing into. Better to play into the... At least to be a 2-for-1 just for a Brainstorm, right? Not a massive fan of what we're working with. So we'll throw back the Oracle and the Writ. Now we'll go and get... Because we've got a better ritual here anyway. So we'll go and get an island now and cast this Ponder. Okay. This seems like a good selection of cards for us. Let's draw ourselves this Doomsday and pass... oh wait, what am I doing? We could have cast the Doomsday right there, couldn't we? What am I doing? That was a huge error. We could have just Doomsdayed immediately. Oh wow, I'm going to regret that, aren't I? Right. I guess we do get to cast this Dark Ritual. And then we can Duress first. See what our opponent's up to. And then we can play the Petal and Doomsday. Okay. An Orcish Bowmasters. We will be counterspelling that Orcish Bowmasters, I can assure you. Balin's Tomb. That's just Ancient Tomb, isn't it? Yes. So, I would like a Thassa's Oracle. We will need a Cavern of Souls for this particular setup, I believe. And we will want an Underground Sea to go with our fetch land in play. And then we just need to get rid of a tiny amount of cards from the top there. Orcish Bowmasters will deal us. So we're going down to 9 here. And we go down 8, 7, 6, 5. So we can afford 1 cantrip in there. 1. So we've got Oracle, Street Wraith, C, Cavern. Oracle, Street Wraith, C, Cavern. I guess we're going to counter this Orcish Bowmasters anyway. So we just have another Street Wraith in here. Put the C on the bottom. Then the Cavern. Then the Oracle. And a couple of Street Wraiths. And then we pass. And then they go to cast this Orcish Bowmasters. We say no to the Bowmasters. So the one question is, do we need this? We could have done a Brainstorm part actually. Put a Brainstorm in there. But that loses to Pyroblast just as much. Alright, so there's the Painted Servant, there's the Tomb, there's the Bowmasters. Please play some other spells. Don't hold up Pyroblast. There's the Welder. Please play another spell. So now we have to make the decision if we're going now or we're waiting for the Cavern to play around thingy. So we can play this right now. We lose to Pyroblast. Or we can lose to our opponent drawing Grindstone next turn. Or Lightning Bolt. Yeah, I think we just have to go for it here. And hope they didn't draw the Pyroblast. Did you draw it? I think we maybe could have played this game a slightly different way. Okay, they didn't have it. But they were right to represent it. Always feels hard against Painter. Very good deck. Daze is not as excited about them. I think I'd like a Subtlety for when they tap out for the Bowmasters. And we guess we can have 1 Daze in there. Is that better than having one of these other things? Yikes, I don't even know. Maybe just the Miser's shoulder. The shoulder's just not going to do anything here, is it? Could be a Force of Will. I think that's probably slightly better than Daze. It does play into Pyroblast a little bit, but I think that's just going to be the price we pay sometimes. Got to be careful about how we navigate it. This is an interesting one. It's certainly got some of the things I want for this matchup. We've got Thoughtseize. We've got Brainstorm to kind of help us out. And we've also got the Recall, which is going to be quite useful. I think we're going to keep this off the back of the Brainstorm. It's quite a disruptive hand. Maybe, are we supposed to keep this? Got to believe in the power of Brainstorm, right? We have our Singleton Hurkyl's Recall. Again, it is a blue spell though. We can come unstuck with it. I'm going to try and keep this one. Maybe people will say it's wrong and you can just try and go for like a really early turn 1 or something. Okay, you know, turn 1, turn 2 kill. But in a world of Pyroblasts and things when you have to get your Cavern of Souls down anyway, I think it probably serves us to play a game that's more than just 2 turns most of the time. So we don't have to go all in on something and maybe lose. Was this a Goblin Engineer? Or is this going to find them? Is this going to be a Dragon Engine for grinding, or is it going to be a combo piece? I imagine it's probably a combo piece. Grindstone. Grindstone can be pretty useful against our combo because they can mill the right things at the right time. Interesting. There's very much a part of me that is interested in doing something weird here. But I think the correct play here is to get the C down, Thoughtseize our opponent, and see how much we got to work through. Elemental Blast and Lightning Bolt. Okay. So they don't have an artifact to weld yet. There's the Badlands. Imagine we're just going to get bashed for 1 here. So they can put a Grindstone into play when they find an artifact, which changes what our pile's supposed to look like. I'd love to draw a land this turn. Not draw a land. I think we cast the Brainstorm here, looking for a second land. Did they draw a Pyroblast? They drew a Bowmasters. Yuck, is how I would describe that one. Pretty good top deck. Yikes. What are we doing here? What are we doing here? We can put Doomsday on the stack right now, which I think we have to do looking at what's in front of us. So what's going back here? We're losing a Dark Ritual, probably losing... Oh, sorry, a Cabal Ritual. Probably losing... I kind of want to keep this Oracle in case we get Grindstoned a little bit. Put these back. Yeah, so we're going to take some amount of damage here, and we're going to also have this massive Orc beating us down. That was an exceptionally good top deck for our opponent. I would say probably the best top deck in there. They need to order these abilities before we can move on. So if we cast this, we're going to go to 7. And then we take 4, 5, 6. And then this is going to be the 7. So we can't cast Doomsday. But the top cards of our library, not very helpful either. Oh no, we're on 12 now, aren't we? Yes, there's 4, 5, 6. So we're exactly dead to this. Yeah, we're just dead to the top deck Bowmasters. I don't think we can beat that. We know what's on top of our library. We don't have a way of shuffling apart from Doomsday, which kills us. Yeah. Been done by the top deck Bowmasters there. Oh, yeah. Bowmaster's a good card. Quite how long it's going to necessarily even be allowed in Legacy will be interesting to see. I think they should have casted it a black personally. It's definitely the most played card, I believe, now, judging by the tournaments from the weekend. But anyway, so we went 3-2, which I'm pretty happy with as someone who does not play Doomsday, and it's quite a complicated deck. We did get dumpstered by an Iona. Our Doomsday pile didn't actually have a way of beating that. So maybe we're not supposed to Doomsday into that, but if we're not Doomsdaying, what are we doing? So I think we were just dead on that one. So I don't really feel I misplayed that one. And that last game, it's just a case of our opponent happened to have it and beat us. So we could have tried to do something else that turn, but we were playing around as much as we could in the turn that we knew that they probably didn't have anything. So, you know, we've seen their hand. We knew they had Lightning Bolt and nothing else at the time. They only had one draw that they didn't play. Maybe that could have given us an indication about what they had. But I don't think there's a situation where we don't cast Brainstorm then. Because if we cast... I'm trying to remember if we had the access to the Doomsday first. But if we'd have cast the Doomsday, then we'd have been in trouble anyway. Because our opponent would have then played the guy, and then we wouldn't be able to draw it without making enough guys. So it's kind of interesting. Anyway, let's talk about the deck. So Doomsday is pretty good as a deck, but I do think Orcish Bowmaster, as you saw, is just a one card that is obviously played everywhere that can really jam us up. A bit like how we jammed our opponent who's playing Doomsday with a Sheoldred. We can kind of get jammed up by a Bowmasters. Now, what I will say about that is if you go early enough, you can get around the Bowmasters, right? So if you're trying to kill your opponent on turn 2 or possibly 3, you can maybe get around the Bowmasters if you haven't taken other damage. So you can draw through it. You get to ignore the big creature you make because you're winning the game that turn. So I don't think Bowmasters is, oh, you can't play Doomsday anymore. But what I will say is it's definitely going to hamper your ability to win with Doomsday. Like, you're going to lose percentage points because of Bowmasters, especially in those games where it drags on a little bit. I was pretty sure, like, we felt like we were in the driving seat against Painter at the end there, and then they just top decked the one thing in their deck that was going to beat us. And yeah, and it did. Once the Warhammer cards come onto Magic Online as well, you're going to see more black-red Painters. So I imagine Orcish Bowmasters is going to end up being common until in Painter decks, in paper at least, and online when, like I said, when Warhammer 40k comes out. Until, well, even if they were to ban something like Orcish Bowmaster, not necessarily saying they need to yet, but if it is a thing that does happen, then the Painter decks are still going to be playing black once they get the Chaos Defiler into Magic Online. But yeah, even Painter decks at the moment without Chaos Defiler now splashing for Orcish Bowmasters. That kind of shows you where the format's at the moment. I think there's a lot of Orcish Bowmasters. There's also a lot of the One Ring that we haven't really run into yet on the channel. But I think that's because it's incredibly expensive and nobody has any yet. I haven't been able to get hold of them to record for you either, which is a shame. But I will do in good time. I think it's too early to say whether cards need to be banned or whatever, but the cards have made an enormous splash on the format already and are warping the format as we speak. So definitely something to keep an eye on. As for Doomsday, I definitely think Turbo Doomsday is where you want to be now, because you want to be able to try and go fast to get underneath Orcish Bowmasters. I don't think you can sort of do a back and forth game and then win as easily when the threat of Orcish Bowmasters is so prevalent. Sideboard wise in this deck, it seemed fine. I don't necessarily know what all the bits are, all the things they're intended for, but obviously I can work out, okay, I want this for this, and this is a time when the duking is going to be good, etc, etc. So I think we navigated it relatively well. We didn't do any of the cool Lion's Eye, Consider piles or whatever. Well, what you can do with Lion's Eye is you can cast Brainstorm and crack the Lion's Eye Diamond in response, and then you get mana to play the card that you've got underneath, and you can cycle through your deck and just play the Thassa's Oracle that way. So that's basically if you have Brainstorm, you're usually going to be in a good spot if you Doomsday with a cantrip still in hand. We did mess up one of our Doomsday piles. We still won that game, but we did mess it up a little bit. But I don't think Doishi, who was the person who I recorded the Doomsday League with before, where he was sort of like recording it with me and talking me through it all, I don't think he'd be too upset by how I played today. I hope not anyway. But I've given it a good go. And this was the deck that won the Legacy 32 challenge. So clearly there's still a lot of play in Doomsday, and players can certainly wiggle their way through a lot of matchups. And I don't think Orcish Bowmasters is the be-all and end-all of Doomsday. I think Doomsday is probably going to end up playing it itself, which is kind of sad as well, to be honest. But such is the powerful little 2-mana card. I think we're done for today. I hope you enjoyed today's midweek meta deck. Playing something that's a bit difficult for me, but we got there in the end. 3-2, I'll take it. So remember to like, comment and subscribe, and why not check out the Patreon or the Discord. Links are in the description. Also the link to the previous video with Doomsday, which is a lot more in-depth in terms of the lines you're supposed to be taking, because I had an expert with me talking me through it. So if you're interested in Doomsday, definitely check that out. It's in the description. All right, thank you very much for watching, and goodbye.